And you get a feel for it. So the video goes on and we go to Arabia, and it's amazing to feel the healing. And I don't even want to show any more of the video because it's from an unserious time, isn't it? And you saw in the background there's some of those fences and border walls and high-tech things. Those were all breached. Those have been up there for 20 years, providing peace and security for 20 years. In fact, part of our trip, we met with Danny Tirza, the retired Israeli army officer who was in charge of building, planning, directing, designing the wall. I've heard him speak several times before. For 20 years, that wall did the job, but it didn't do the job last weekend. Complacency, a feeling of invulnerability, a feeling that the history was over. I was thinking that for those of you who are old enough to remember, when the Berlin Wall came down in 1999 without a shot, like think about it, the Cold War that everyone thought would be ended by a violent thermonuclear war to end all wars, it ended without a shot. It ended because the Soviet Union was exhausted and collapsed. It ended because the West outweighted, out-earned, outspent the Soviets. And there was a feeling of jubilation. There was a book by Professor Francis Fukuyama called The End of History. We'll all just eat at McDonald's in all our different countries, and we'll all watch Disney movies translated into every language, and we'll all get along, and we'll all trade with each other. We'll all be consumers and customers, and that's the endless future of happiness. Is we're all consumers, really, and there's no more big battles because the battle between the capitalist West and the Soviet East is now resolved. That was 1989, 1990, the reunification of Germany, the independence of the former Soviet states, but that didn't last forever. Osama bin Laden had other ideas, so did Xi Jinping and other Chinese dictators, so did Vladimir Putin. They all had different ideas about what the future would be like. And I would say that the 90s started in 1989 with the fall of the Berlin Wall and ended in 2001 with the fall of the Twin Towers. And I think that the last 20 years in Israel have been that same end of history, 20 years, where the country felt confident. It felt untouchable. It felt inevitable. Yeah, there was this problem in the distance called Iran, and yeah, there were terrorist groups, but it was bearable. It was bearable. It wasn't peace, but it was quiet, and indeed it looked like peace might well come, but that is ended. And our trip to Israel, and thank God we weren't there when the war, it's a real war. In fact, I see that literally an hour ago, terrorists from the north, from Lebanon, from Hezbollah, different terrorist group, also banned in Canada, by the way, used similar tactics, drones and light aircraft paragliding. Israel's north is under attack. Anyhow, I started this little meander by saying that we're sending one of our top reporters, Avi Yamini, from Melbourne, Australia. He's our chief Australia correspondent. He was with us on that recent trip to Israel, which is what made me think of that. By the way, we're sending a reporter to Israel, Avi Yamini. In fact, as I speak, he's boarding the plane in Melbourne, Australia, to fly with our cameraman, Benji, to Tel Aviv. He's there to tell the truth about the war. If you want to help us crowdfund his economy class airfare from Australia to Israel for him and for Benji and for their hotel costs and other costs, we're trying to find them a bulletproof vest, for example. Please go to thetruthaboutthewar.com. That's the special website we've set up, thetruthaboutthewar.com. From downtown Toronto, well, uptown Toronto actually, in front of a line of police, this is Ezra Levant for Rebel News.